when we finally learn that we are not the only ones suffering, when we learn that, there are other people on the planet. Fun fact, some people might not know this, there are other people on the planet who suffer as well. Other people on the planet who have had a crazy upbringing as well. Other people on the planet who are going through trials and tribulations as well. When you learn that you are not the only one there, we start to see each other as a community. And I'm going to just use myself for an example. Through learning that, I've learned that for a while now. Now that I know that, instead of, going out in public and I make eye contact with someone who I don't know, a stranger, right? Instead of just looking away like, oh my gosh, I smile, I wave. You never know how much a smile or a wave can change somebody's whole day, even if you don't know that person. So the fact that we are all, and this is what I'm saying, through that learning experience, now that I've learned that lesson, hey, I'm not the only one struggling here. I'm not alone. And when you really get that through your brain that you're not alone, number one, you tend to be more happy. You tend to feel safer. But number two, you realize, let me just treat everybody else how I would want other people to treat me. Because now that we know that we're all going through something, imagine if we all smiled at each other when looking at each other. When we see each other, we'd be like, nice to see you. You know what I mean? I don't know you, but nice to see you. That would cause a ripple effect in humanity. Imagine if, let's say you, for example, imagine if you got a day where you're outside of the house all day. Maybe you got to go to the grocery store, then you got to run to the bank, then you got to get groceries. Well, I already said groceries, but you're going from place to place. And the minute you leave your house, your neighbor smiles at you. Then you get in the car, and the person next to you, when you're waiting at the red light, y'all make eye contact and they smile at you. And then let's say you finally make it to the grocery store, and a few couple strangers that you made eye contact in there smiles at you. Then the cashier smiles at you. Then the person who check your little receipt smiles at you. You see what I'm saying? And the way I like to see it is, we gotta all smile at each other, because that is the God in us. The God in us that shows love and compassion, sanctity. I think that's the word I'm using, right? Sanctity. Not sanity, but sanctity. Like, we can feel safe, like sanctuary. It's good to feel safe here. It's okay for you to feel safe where you are. The only reason why we feel like it's not safe to relax where we are, the only reason why we feel like it's not safe to be present a lot of the times, is because we limit our own selves. We limit ourselves with doubts, fears, self-imposed limitations by trying to predict the worst thing that's gonna happen. Whenever people say, and I used to be that type of person, but when people say, oh, I like to imagine the worst so I'm prepared for it, failure is a preconceived notion. What that means is, when you say you're gonna predict the worst so that way you're preparing for it, you're preparing yourself to fail. Do you not understand that when you say, I'm just gonna imagine the worst thing to happen so that way I can handle it, you have now just started to manifest failure. And that failure is not a bad thing, because when it comes to anything in life, we learn through failure. We learn through mishaps. We learn through unforeseen circumstances. You understand? But that is how we learn until we finally get it right. But when you just don't even give it your best, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what you're starting. If you just go in with the mindset, you don't have to say, I'm going to do so good or I'm going to do so bad. All you have to say is, I'm going to do my best. No matter what that looks like, I'm going to just do my best. And when you do your best, you leave no room for judgment. You leave no room for your ego to judge you, because we all do have that unhealthy ego that we must strive to get rid of. And that unhealthy ego is the judge of ourselves. It is the judge, the bad judge that we don't like. The healthy ego is the good judge. If we do something nice, when we do something nice for somebody, we say, okay, keep doing that. That was nice. But then the healthy ego could also become unhealthy, because if you do something nice and it makes you feel good, then you'd be like, the unhealthy ego is like, now we have to adopt that. Now we have to show everybody that we're nice. Now we have to put on this performance. The ego likes to perform. The ego likes to perform. The ego likes to put on a performance based off of what the healthy ego likes. You don't have to strip away your healthy ego. You just have to get rid of that unhealthy ego, because the healthy ego likes to do good things for people. The healthy ego is selfless. The healthy ego is helpful. You understand? But when you are helping, let's say you donated $10, you gave $10 on some groceries to someone who needed food and water and things like that, right? The unhealthy ego would be like, oh, I should start doing that more. Who was this little drill? The unhealthy ego would be like, man, I gotta start performing in that way. I gotta show everybody that I give to the homeless. I gotta show everybody that I help those in need. That's the unhealthy ego. You don't gotta show nobody. God sees what you're doing. God knows your intentions. So if you that type of person who lives through the unhealthy ego, and you shouldn't be living through any ego, just live from the soul. Just live from the soul. But like I was saying, doubts, fears, and self-imposed limitations, we place that upon ourselves. Fears aren't even really there. The fears are not ever really there. If you are walking down your path and you get the opportunity to, let's say, I don't freaking know, let's say you like to speak, motivational speaking, and you get the opportunity to speak in front of a bunch of people. You might have a fear of public speaking because everybody can see you. You're the one up there, everybody else is down there. You're feeling some type of way, and that might be a fear of yours. You have to understand that fear is not even really there. You're judging yourself through other people. When we be like, oh, I can't do this because everybody's going to perceive me to be this way. Number one, why do you care how people perceive you? You also got to have that balance by trying to help people, but also not trying to be perceived, not caring, about being perceived by other people. And it took me a little minute to learn that, even just making these types of it. Why does my pinky finger does not connect to the rest of my fingers? Like, as you can see, these three are together, but no matter how hard I try, it just, you know what I mean? I gotta to make it connect. And this hand is fine. You know what I mean? But naturally, it just goes like this. When I just naturally do things, it's naturally like a split, but I have to force it like this. Anyway, what am I talking about? What was I talking about? Dang, that's crazy, man. I was on a road for 9 minutes until I lost my track. That's okay. You see, that's how you just gotta handle things. That's another thing that I was gonna say. Oh, the fears thing. That's what I was gonna say. You judge yourself through other people. Like what I was doing at the beginning, just learning from doing YouTube, I realized I don't care how people perceive me. I live for God. I don't live for the people. I live to please God. I don't live to please the other people. And that's how it should be. And the thing about it, I was literally just talking to God about this before I started recording the video. You know you're pleasing God based off of how you feel about your own life. It's that simple. It's that simple. I'm so serious. Don't even overthink it. If you don't like the way you're living your life, how do you think God feels about the things you're doing? How do you think God feels about your mindset? How do you think God feels about you being ungrateful? If being ungrateful doesn't make you feel good, how do you think it makes God feel? Because when we all have a piece of God within us. So when we are out of alignment with that God-like energy within us, we feel it. Anytime you do not feel good, anytime you feel angry, anytime you are ungrateful, anytime you are complaining, anytime you just can't even just try to see the good in life, you are out of alignment with your source. Because if God is our source, He's the center of everything. And our soul is the center of our essence. Our soul is our essence. Then that when we tap in to who we really are, when you meditate and you tap into that feeling of peace and tranquility, you tap into God. It's that simple. Tapping into your soul, living from the soul, means you are living by God. You are living to please God. Wendy, so I hope y'all can hear me, but I also wanted to add in, when it comes to pleasing God, I also wanted to add in the fact that when we feel good, we are being blessed with His grace. We are being blessed. Do you understand? If I am taking care of another human being, the fact that I feel good doing that means God has blessed me. That's a blessing. Your feelings are blessings or curses. If you are shouting at somebody, being mean to somebody, you do not feel good. That is your curse. You understand what I'm trying to say with that? But if you are treating people with respect, if you love yourself, if you love other people, if you're taking care of, I don't know, if you're gardening, if you're doing anything that makes you feel good, know that the fact that you feel good doing that means that you are being blessed, means that God wants you to continue to do more things like that, so that way he can continue to bless you with good feelings. Because at the end of the day, he wants all of us to live a happy life. He made everything so intentional, everything so colorful, everything so beautiful. He wants us to enjoy it. So when he sees you doing good, he blesses you with the feeling of feeling good. You understand? As y'all can tell, it's nighttime. Look at the moon. It's somewhere over here. There it is. But I also wanted to say that the intuition speaks to us through our feelings. So when you feel good, that's a sign that you're headed in the right direction. And when you feel bad, that's a sign that you're not. So I just wanted to say that because the body can sense things that the mind is not able to comprehend yet. The body is the first part of us that picks. The soul already knows. Okay, the soul already knows. So it's the body that's the last thing to pick up on the body is the first thing to pick up on energy and information. The body is the first thing to feel it and to decipher it. That's all I wanted to say. But if he sees you doing bad, then he's going to be sitting there with a stern look on his face, and he's not going to allow you to feel good until you change your ways. It's really that simple. And that's why people, they be so unhappy with themselves all the time, simply because they know that they're not doing good, but at the same time they don't want to change it, because the devil makes everything look fun. But just because the flesh is weak, okay? So just because it looks fun, it's not fun for the spirit. And that's why I say you got to live for the soul. A lot of people, for some weird reason, it is not no weird reason. It's the devil's wicked systems that he has in place. And we are all sinners, which means our flesh is very weak. And the devil can slip through the cracks of anybody who is not guarding their mind, in so many words. Because the devil, he can't get to your heart. God lives within our heart. The devil, he cannot corrupt your heart. The devil, he cannot take your soul. He cannot corrupt your soul. That's God. God is at the center of who we are, which is our soul. However, God is also within our hearts. So he can't even touch that, but he can get to your mind, because your mind is physical. Your mind is weak. The flesh is weak. And so what I was trying to say with all of that is, the reason why people think God is not fun, or living on the side of God is not fun, is because their mind is so weak. Their mind is so incredibly weak that they feel like they might as well just give in to what the devil is tempting them to do, excuse me. But when you live from the spirit, I'm telling y'all, man, it's so fulfilling. If you are seeking that fulfillment, God's love is unlike any other. When you just allow yourself to be present and relaxed. Matter of fact, my Bible verse of the day said something about Jesus rebuked the wind and he told the waves to be still, and then there was stillness. I say all the time that your thoughts, you can see yourself as an ocean, and your thoughts are like waves. Look at that butterfly there. I can't get it on camera because I don't want to expose my neighbors and everything like that. But your thought, I said this before, see yourself as the ocean, and your thoughts are like waves. Your thoughts are also like wind. You understand? So you have the power to control your mind. You have the power to calm down and experience peace, to experience tranquility, to experience a good time here. So allow it. There's no need to get caught up in your head about every little thing. There's no need to get caught up in your head about how something's going to happen or what happened in the past. Live for the present moment, because the peace is here. The peace that you've always been searching for is here. God is here with you, just waiting on you to call on to him, waiting on you to turn to him. It's really that simple. You will always win with God on your side. You can never win with the devil. You might think you're winning just because you see people have all these material things. They most likely feel very poor within, because the richest people know that the material things do not matter. The richest people know for a fact that they are rich because of what they have within, not because of what they have in the external reality. I just wanted to drop that little message in here. I'm dang near about to record a whole nother video. Y'all have a good one. And that is how you know you are really happy. And it's gonna take time. Trust me, I'm not one of them people that's gonna be like, oh, all you gotta do is just say you're gonna do this. And no, it's gonna take time. I've been telling myself this for a little minute now. Strive for progress, not perfection. Strive to just make progress each and every day. Strive to just relax and just allow things to happen without getting caught up in it. The way I see thoughts, right? And that's what I was getting at with all of this. Thoughts can be our biggest distraction. Other than social media, other than the friends that are not, we really don't need to even be hanging around. Other than all these distractions that might be physical in our lives, thoughts are the biggest distraction in our life, the biggest. And I say that because when you are constantly in your head about something, the way I see thoughts as, they start to grow as little vines. And your mind is like a garden. Thoughts can produce beautiful things in your life. You understand? They're like seeds. And your mind is fertile for thought. Seeds of thought. Your mind is fertile grounds for seeds of thought. You understand what I'm saying there? And so whatever you believe, whatever you are consistently thinking, those are the seeds that you are consistently planting. Those are the seeds that you are consistently sowing. So whatever your life looks like, you have to understand that you sowed those seeds. You reap that harvest. You understand? So if you're looking at life and you're like, man, I don't like it, man, everything is out to get me, man, you're playing the victim. You're playing the victim. And that goes back into what I was saying about being present. I cannot imagine continuing down the path that I used to be going down. Do I regret it? No. And that's another thing. People always say you gotta have regrets. They regret doing this. I don't regret anything. I don't regret hanging around with the wrong people. I don't regret making deals with the devil. Not literally like selling my soul, but you make a deal with the devil every time you go against God. You make a deal with the devil every time you sin. You make a deal with the devil every time you play his wicked games and indulge and live in his wicked systems, whatever that might be. Whether you're lying, whether you're stealing, whether you're doing whatever God tells you not to do, that's when you make a deal with the devil. I don't regret any of that because all of that made me who I am today. All of those things made me who I am today. And that's another thing about regret. You are planting these seeds to feel sorry for yourself. You gotta stop that. You can either feel sorry for yourself, or you can use that past pain, that pain from the past, to build you up and to nurture you, to propel you forward. You can use it all to just slingshot you, and boom, you'll be catapulting down your path. You'll feel so weightless when you have no regrets, when you just trust God, when you stop questioning him. He has a plan for all of us. And that's another reason why I say social media is distracting, because we see how other people are living their lives, those who are in the limelight on social media, those who have broken through all the noise on social media, and who we see so often. We see that they're all living kind of similarly to each other, with having all these material things. But one thing I always say, people who feel the need to have so much material items are overcompensating for the fact that they feel poor within. And I'm telling you the truth. It don't matter how spiritually, when you really get to the point where you realize you are really rich spiritually, you are really rich, you really understand you don't need much. That is the mindset of someone who is really rich, understanding that they really don't need much. I never cared for the designer. I'm gonna just say a little story. When I was coming up, I wasn't. Now kids nowadays are being born and they get the tablet right in front of their face 2 seconds after being born. Me, I grew up with TV and internet, of course, but I wasn't really having a lot of screen time like that. I was still outside playing with toys. You don't really see that nowadays. But what I was gonna say was, growing up, especially in elementary school. Middle school it got worse, but in elementary school I noticed a few things. Like I noticed by the time I got to 4th grade, some kids had the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5. Kids had like clean shoes and all that type of stuff. And I was like, I want those type of shoes. I get to middle school, everybody's wearing Jordans and the new Jordans. They got the spray ground backpack. They're constantly getting their hair done. And I saw that was what was making them popular, I guess. Because deep down inside, we all just want to express ourselves. And I thought that I had to go down that path too. And deep down inside, I don't even care for designer stuff. I never did, man. I remember when I would make money, like get money for Christmas or whatever the case may be, because I ain't had no job. I was like 12. I spent $90 on some white Air Forces, man. $90 on some shoes that cost a penny to make. I'm playing, not a penny, but like they cost like $2 to make, and I spent $90 on them things. That's when I was like, and then now that I'm older, even going into high school, the pressure was even more on, because I started to get more depressed. I started to get more unhappy with who I was. And so I started to copy everybody else, and I started to wear the wigs and the lashes and the fake nails. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And then on top of that, I got my first job senior year. So I was really just blowing every single paycheck on things that would make me fit in with the other kids, and that didn't even make me happy. I kept buying to try and make me happy, when every time somebody says money would make you happy, all the type of people who be like, oh, money don't make you happy, it sure would make me happy. You are poor. You are so poor if you believe that money would make you happy. You have to understand that. Like, you really have to burn that in your mind. How poor do you have to be to feel like money, something physical, something fleeting, could make you happy? How poor do you have to be? You have to be very, very poor. And that there is a limitation. You are limitless. There is no limit on how far you can grow in this life. I'm only 20. I was just saying to myself, man, 10 years from now, when I'm 30, boy, I don't even know how far I could go. Because right now, when I imagine my best self, that best self is probably like 2 years. That's probably like 2-3 years from now, when I'm like 22, 23. By the time I get 22, 23, I'll probably be imagining when I'm 27, 28 being my best self. You understand? You can never stop growing. One thing, like I was saying, progress, not perfection. You have to strive each and every day. Don't try and have the perfect day. Don't be like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to get this done, this done, this done. Just do your best at it. Just do your best at it, and you will free yourself from judgment. Doing your best when it comes to just living your daily life, you leave no room to judge yourself, because you did the best. If you did the best that you could that day, you did the very best that you could, you have no room to judge yourself, because you did your best. Even if you hear that unhealthy ego saying, man, I didn't I didn't do the thing, that I didn't live from my ego. Okay, that's fine, because I still did my best. I'm not going to judge myself because I did my best. So what if I didn't cross off everything on my to-do list? I still did my best. Productivity, that comes from the ego. And a lot of us don't really understand that. When we say we're going to be productive, we're going to get this done, this done, this done, this done, that's ego. Because your ego tells you who you should be. God tells you who you are. The soul tells you who you are. The ego tells you who you should be. A lot of us don't really understand that productivity, saying that calling yourself a productive person, that is an ego-based personality trait. And that will never serve you, because you're going to burn yourself out every single day choosing to be productive, every single day producing product. That's what productive means. Producing product. Whatever that might be. If you say you're going to get the dishes done, you're going to clean the whole house, and you're treating yourself like a machine. Machines are productive. They're constantly producing product. They can do that, sure. You're not a machine, you're a person. From the soul, the ego wants to be productive. The soul wants to be creative. That's the difference between the ego and the soul. So when you say, I'm going to have a productive day today, you're speaking from the ego. When you say you're going to have a creative day today and you're going to allow yourself to flow and just have a good time, you're speaking from the soul, because God wants us to have a good time here. He created human beings to reign over this planet, to watch over the animals, to tend to this earth. The earth is God's garden. That's how I like to see it. Every single thing on this planet grows some type of flower or some type of fruit, and we just have to, well, maybe not grass, but you understand what I'm trying to say here. And God just wants us to tend to it. And when you just tend to your life, like I said, you also have a garden in your mind. So when you tend to your mind, you're able to produce fruitful harvest in your physical reality, because your subconscious mind is like the soil of your mind, that fertile soil. And then your thoughts in your conscious mind are the seeds that have grown from that soil. That's why I always say, if you want to get to the root of the problem, you have to go to the subconscious mind, because there are roots in that soil that's causing these problems to manifest. And that's the thing, problems come from within. Fears come from within. Limitations come from within. We could be like, oh, this person's holding me back. No, they're not. Nobody's holding you back. You have something, you have some kind of seed growing within your subconscious mind that's the key, that told you to hang with that person, that's telling you to stick with that person. And when you find out what that seed is and you uproot it, no more, and you plant something else in return. Boundaries, maybe, I don't know. You only know what that is. When you spend so much time in your head, like I said, the thoughts are the biggest distractions. You could, from the minute you wake up, you're like spaced out all day, just spending time in your head, simply because you don't know what it's like to be present anymore. At one point in time, all we were was present, and that is when we were children. I'm gonna get into that. But when you spend so much time in your head just victimizing yourself, replaying corrupted scenarios, being fearful, belittling yourself, even though your potential is greater than what you really are, you hold yourself prisoner in your own mind. You hold yourself prisoner in your own mind, and you say, I'm not free to go out and just express myself. You say, I'm not free to be present. You say, I'm not free to really live my life. I'd rather just watch it go by. And you do that all the time when you just live in your head. But the whole time you have to understand that the key is within the cell. You're actually holding the key, because the key is freeing yourself from that. The key is realizing that whatever you're in your head about, it's not happening. That's the key. Because you have to understand, when you're in your head about something, it's either the past or the future. Because you can't be in your head about the present moment if the present moment is here. You understand? If something happens, if a bird smacks this wall here, and then the whole time afterwards I'm just in my head about the bird smacking the wall, that's now the past. The fact that it's not repeatedly happening, that's the past now. You cannot be in your head about the past. You cannot be in your head about the future. You have to let it go. And don't question where God is taking you. That's what I was saying about all of this. Don't question where God is taking you. Just because everybody else seems like they're doing better than you, nobody is doing better than you. Everybody is doing better than themselves. You should be striving to do better than yourself. Me, today, in these, how long? I've been awake for about 2 hours. It's 10 a.m. I've been awake for about 2 hours. I'm doing better than I was yesterday. The first 2 hours of me waking up yesterday is nothing like these first 2 hours that I've been awake today. And that's what really makes me happy. I cannot hide the fact that that's making me very happy right now, because I'm doing better than I did yesterday. Because yesterday I had reached the moment where I was like, the thing about it is, you test your own limits. The way I like to see it is, you can bend, but you cannot break. And if you do break, I don't know what to tell you. Me, I've never broken, so I don't know what to tell you. But the way I see it is, you are a flower, a tall little flower. And whenever you weigh yourself down with thoughts, limitations, holding yourself back, distractions, you start to bend backwards and you start to touch the ground. Me, I was bending. And I reached that point where I was like, you know what? Or you can see it like the slingshot thing. How far can you really get pulled back until you let it go? You understand? Until you let it go and you just catapult forward. Don't hold yourself back anymore. It's that simple. You have to really, and I mean truly, stand guard of your mind, because the devil will slip in through them cracks. I'm not even playing. He will slip in through them cracks just like a lizard will slip in through an open windowsill. It'll slip in through the bottom of your front door. It'll slip in somehow, some way. If it's a will, it's a way. So anytime you catch yourself, and that's another thing, do not always stand guard, man. Do not let yourself be caught slipping. Do not let yourself be caught with a crack, because the minute the devil sees that you're angry, he gonna try and jump in and get to you. The minute, because the devil, he does not live within us. He can only watch us. The devil cannot exist with God. And so when we all have God within us, meaning the devil cannot live within us. So he can only watch us. And the minute he sees that you're angry, the minute he sees you're sad, the minute he sees you're victimizing yourself, he'll slip in and start feeding you all these little things that do not serve you. And you'll know it don't serve you when it's making you feel bad. You know your thoughts aren't godlike. You know your thoughts aren't positive seeds. You know you're not planting positive seeds when it's not making you feel good as you're sowing them. When you're just constantly just like, oh my gosh, my head, oh my goodness, these thoughts, they're killing me, man. Like, you're just constantly complaining. You have to understand that you're in control of the thoughts you think. I could start thinking about how I don't like clowns and how scary they are. Then all of a sudden I could think about strawberries. Just like that. It's that simple. It's really that simple, and you are in control. God is in control of your circumstances. However, the only reason why your circumstances look the way they do is because you are in control of yourself. You are constantly having a conversation with God, because he lives within us. So he knows our hearts. He knows our mindset. And even though God is trying to guide you, the thing about God is he's trying to guide you in the direction that your heart wants to go in, but he's showing you your circumstances based off of what your mind is like. He's showing you the seeds that you have planted in your mind. That's why your life looks the way it looks. But he's trying to tell you how to recultivate your garden by pulling your heart in the right direction. You understand what I'm trying to say here? So he's reflecting to you the seeds you have planted in your mind, but he's also trying to take you out of those negative seeds. He's trying to show you how to uproot them and plant better seeds for yourself, because he sees what kind of garden you want to create, but you can't create that garden if you don't have space for those positive seeds. You understand what I'm saying? And when we finally start to break free from the thought and really start to live in the present moment, I will not lie, it takes some getting used to, because the last time I felt like this, I was a child. It's been over 15 years since the last, probably even before that, before I started public school, I'm gonna be real, is the last time I felt like this. It's been so long, so very long since I last felt this good, since I last felt so blissful, so peaceful with my life. And that's how you feel when you're in the present moment, because you realize you're good, you're safe. God has you in his hands. He is carrying you, and all I'm doing is I'm holding on to him. He's carrying me, and I'm clenching him, because I do not want to fall. I do not want to let go of him. I do not. But the longer you spend in the present moment, you start to feel more grounded within yourself. You start to feel safer within yourself. And that is some root chakra affirmations to help you feel more grounded. It is safe for you to relax. It is safe for you to be yourself. It is safe for you to express yourself in the here and now. You exist in the here and now, not in the then and when, not in the how and why, but you exist in the here and now. You do. And the longer and longer you spend here just taking in all the beauty, the more you'll look back and you will realize, what was I even panicking about? You'll realize it's better that the sunlight Now that I'm free from that prison in my mind, the sunlight feels so good on my skin. The air is fresh air. One thing I noticed when I was depressed is I love to be in the dark. I love to be in the dark, and I love to be inside. I will forever say that sunlight feels better than the darkness, and fresh air feels better than being cooped up inside. Moving my body feels better than being still, because when I'm being still for too long, it's physically, I feel like I genuinely start to believe that my body is decomposing. Because the human body is meant to move. We have over 600 muscles. We're meant to move. So when you're sitting down all day long, barely moving, that makes us unhappy. That makes us unhappy because we believe that we're sitting here decomposing. We're just sitting here rotting. The whole time we're alive, but we feel like we're rotting. And that rots your mental health when you're not moving. That's why exercise really does make you feel good. Because you're moving like you're supposed to. You're giving your muscles something to do. Every single cell in your body is conscious, just as you are. Yeah, we have to understand that the body is a separate entity from the soul. Now, the soul is what powers the body on, in so many words. If the body doesn't have a soul, then the body's not turned on. And so, the way I see it is not that the body is turned on. Your cells now got to start doing what they got to do. But if you're not letting them do what they got to do, you're holding your cells back from doing what they got to do. And you're holding yourself back from living a good life. Man, it's so simple. The easiest way to live a good life is to just allow it. To know that you're safe, to know that you're good, man. I hear the birds chirping in the distance. I see the lizards climbing on the wall, the bird chirping. Sounds like a baby bird. My cat's over here probably coming for some food. Man, I'm good, man. I'm not thinking about how people did me wrong in the past. I'm not thinking about that time I got my heart broke. I'm not thinking about the time where I wanted to take my life. I'm not thinking about all these things that wounded me. I'm just here. I'm living for the moment. I'm living for the here and now. And I said something about childhood as well. And when you allow yourself to just see, the reason why children are so close to God is because they live from the soul. Children are the most creative people on the planet. I will forever say that. They are the most creative and wisest people on the planet because they live from the soul. They might not know how to read. They might not know 2 + 2. But at the same time, they know what life is about. And life is about having a good time. That's why we're here. To enjoy yourself. When you're not enjoying life, you're going against God. It's a real reality, and that's the truth. We could be like, oh man, there's nothing to enjoy. Now you're being ungrateful. When you say the secret to life is just to have a good time, when you stop enjoying life, you're going against God. But then on top of going against God, when I say all you gotta do is just make the best of your circumstances and just enjoy where you are, you be like, and you say there's nothing to enjoy, now you're being ungrateful. So you're going against God and you're being ungrateful, man. It don't matter what it is. And I remember when I was a little girl, and this goes back how children live from the soul. Children are creative and they know how to make the best out of any situation. When I was a little girl, I remember I was in the 4th grade and we were reading Charlotte's Web. We watched the movie, we watched the cartoon version, we watched the live action version of the movie, and we read the book Charlotte's Web. I love Charlotte's Web. That was probably my favorite movie/book when I was a little girl. But I remember I created this paper doll. I just drew a girl, a full body girl with a face and everything, a paper doll, and I named her Charlotte from Charlotte's Web. And I love playing with her. She probably didn't last more than a day, most likely, but that was my little paper doll, and I called her Charlotte. And that just goes to show how children can just make the most out of anything. If you didn't have toys growing up, I'm pretty sure a child will grab whatever they could find and pretend to play teacher. A child could grab a cup, a bowl, a pillow, a paper napkin, and a pencil and say, this is my class and I'm going to teach them. And you look like, what you doing with my bowl and cup? Whenever I see parents that don't understand the imagination of a child, it just makes me realize how far we have all gotten from our true selves, which is childlike. Because the way I see it, it's not the children it's not being young that makes you childlike. It's being It's living from the soul that makes you childlike, because God tells us to be childlike. It's not being young, it's not being 5 that makes you childlike, it's being free that makes you childlike. Being creative, living from the soul, that's what that literally means. Knowing that you are limitless, knowing that there is nothing that can stop you but you. That is what frees you. That is the key. And I was also saying something about friends, the type of friends we hang around. Your potential is limitless. The way I see it, you can never stop growing. The way I see it, I have this cup. There's an avocado seed in there. I'm trying to cultivate it, y'all, but it's doing what it do. It's an avocado seed. Anyways, there's this cup here. You see how it can only contain this much stuff. You understand? This is the people. There's about 9 of these cups. There's 9 of these purple cups here. These are the types of people you're hanging around. Whole time, this is you. You are so much more. Your potential is so much more than the people who you are hanging around. You're trying to fit yourself into spaces where you do not belong. You will never be able to fit in with these cups. You will always be the elephant in the room when you're hanging around with these purple cups. Let them go. Surround yourself, and even though I only, and that's the thing, it's something poetic about that. I only have 1 of those black gardening pots, and I have 9 of these cups. It's something poetic about that. I would rather stand alone and be in my full essence, be in my full glory, than stand with 9 people who bring me down. Stand with 9 people who I have to try and fit in with. You will never fit in. And that's also how you hold yourself back, is trying to fit in spaces where you do not belong. Because all you're doing is draining your energy. All you have to do is flow. When you resist the pull of your heart, where God is trying to guide your heart, when you resist that pull, it takes energy to go against God. Resistance is going against God. We got to call it what it is. It takes energy to resist. It takes energy to fight that. It's like if there's heavy wind and rain and you're going in the direction that if the wind and rain is coming this way and you're going this way, that's resistance. You're resisting the wind and rain. It's going to take you more energy to tread through that rather than just going in the direction that is blowing you. You see, and that's the thing. When you go in the direction that the wind is blowing you, you move faster. When you go in the opposite direction, not only are you not making any progress, but you are also draining your energy trying to go in the opposite direction. Just flow. There's no need to have fears about your future. And I feel like somebody out there needs to hear that. Trust God 100%. Believe that you can stand on the word that He promises you. If you have it in your heart that you really want to quit your job and do something else, maybe you want to quit your art and quit your job and start selling your art. I don't know your circumstances. All I can do is tell you to pray about it and really meditate on it. And what I mean meditate on it, get into a space where there is silence in your mind, because thoughts are born from silence. Silence is the source. So when you can get into that space of silence, you are able to receive what is really meant for you. You're able to receive the information that is really going to guide you. You're able to see clearly. Get rid of those thoughts. Get rid of all that fog. In so many words, the thoughts are like fog. Get rid of all that fog. Air it out so that way you can see clearly. Because all these consistent thoughts that you're having is fogging up your vision from what God is trying to really show you. He's really trying to show you the way. And that's the thing. We produce that fog. Our mind is a fog machine. You understand? And so the picture could be clear as day. However, when you start to produce thoughts, you start to have that fog creep in and you're like, I can't really see how this is going to work out for me. But when you air that fog out, you realize it's all adding up. And that's the reason why I said earlier that I don't regret anything, because God will allow us to go through certain things in our life just so that we learn a lesson. Because what's a life without a lesson? What's a life without a lesson? He says we have to learn these lessons simply because we will need this information later on in life. So it's better to learn it now than later, right? But when God teaches us these lessons, so many of us, we hold on to the pain, that we hold on to the pain of the experience rather than the lesson itself. We hold on to the pain of the experience rather than the lesson itself, and we victimize ourselves, and we say, man, I'm never going to do this because I remember that hurt me. I'm never going to hang around someone who likes the color blue because my favorite person loved the color blue and they hurt me. Okay, you're just holding yourself back. You're blocking your own blessings. Anytime you hold yourself back with thoughts and limitations and fears, you block your own blessing and you miss out on opportunities. Let it go. Live for the moment. Just take the chance. Even if it doesn't go the way you expected it to go. One thing we all need to understand is we cannot predict God. It might not go the way you expected it to go, but it doesn't mean that it didn't go the way it was meant to go. Just because it didn't go the way you expected it to go does not mean it didn't go the way that it was meant to go. We have to learn these lessons sooner or later, so why not learn them sooner? So that way you can enjoy life later. Instead of enjoying life now and then learning everything later. I'd rather just learn everything, get it out the way now. That's why I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. Will I do it again? Hell no. God forgive me. Please, God forgive me. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. But do I regret it? Absolutely not. Because we learn who we are through experience, and experience expands the mind. You understand? And the mind is limitless. It's really no limits. Like I said, these cups have only had so much experience. This pot is way more expanded than this cup here. So that just goes to show, the more and more you grow, the more and more you live for the present moment. You can only experience life in the present moment. So live for the moment. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about what you got, bills coming up, or you got to get groceries but you don't know how. The birds do not have a supply of food just tucked away. The birds do not have a refrigerator and an oven and a freezer to store their meats and to keep the nuts and the berries. They don't have no type of storage like that. But every single day they get up and they go out and get some type of food, and they're fed every single day because God watches over them. It says something like that in the Bible. The birds, it says something about the birds, and God still watches over them and protects them. You have to understand that you are loved by God himself, and that is the greatest love you can ever feel in your life. I really am so blessed to be able to feel that love, and the only way you'll feel that love is in the present moment. And then you'll feel it even more when you start to praise God in the present moment. And you just, God's love is so abundant, it is so rich that I don't care who you are, it is going to be too much for your body to contain. When you feel God's love and he washes you over with a sense of peace, with a sense of bliss, it's so much for us to contain. It's a love that I have never felt in my life before meeting God, before getting to know him. It's a love that is unlike any other, and it's so much that it starts to seep out through our cracks. You understand? We start to cry because it's so much to contain. And I love having those moments like that. And the more moments I have like that, the more I just want to praise God. And that's another thing. You can never lose with God on your side. I know we live in a wicked world where the devil has got so many people wrapped around his little finger, and the devil is telling so many people to live a wicked lifestyle. But all those people who you see are scamming people, are lying about who they really are, and just doing everything for the media, whatever the case may be, just know that those people are not really happy. You will always win 103% of the time with God on your side. You'll never win with the devil, because good always wins. Love always prevails. It always does, and it always will. That's science. That's facts. That's something that can be proven day in and day out, because it's proven that misery does not make us feel good. And if somebody is miserable within, they're not winning. But if you feel good within, if you feel righteous within, if you feel confident within, but not cocky, not prideful, when you're humble, you're winning. I'll forever say that. So don't look at how the next person is getting all this money. I be seeing nowadays, it's cool for people to scam other people. It's cool for people to, have their hearts closed off and to be like, oh, I don't love people. It's cool for people to be emotionally unavailable. Could never be me. I've always been very sensitive, and that's my superpower. Being able to feel energy, being able to know how something makes me feel, That's my superpower. I'm not blind to how things make me feel. And that's the superpower, because then I understand, okay, this doesn't make me feel good. I don't need to indulge in that. This makes me feel really good. I need to indulge in that. Just like praising God in the present moment, just praising God and really just being grateful and genuine, that makes me feel extremely good. It makes me feel so good that I cry. So I'm gonna keep on doing that because I like it. But I hope I got the message across in this video. This definitely, I didn't plan on this video to be over 40 minutes, but if you're watching to this point in the video, I want to say thank y'all so much, man. I really do appreciate y'all watching. The sun has come out. It was real cloudy earlier, but the sun has come out, and I can't even see. I think it says 47 minutes, but I can't even really see myself because the screen looks a little dark. I know it's still recording. Yeah, and I'm sweating. I know y'all can tell that the sun has come out because I'm sweating. But yeah, like, and it is now 10:35. But anyways, yeah, before I end this video, I just want to say, even though you cannot see the end, keep going. Just know it. If you're doing something that makes you feel good, don't give up. You're living your life doing the best that you can, and I mean not focusing on the past, not being anxious about the future, but you're just living in the present moment, doing your best to just enjoy where you are with what you've got, not complaining. If you have to go to the wash house to wash your clothes, make the most out of that, because that's all that you have in the moment. Just be grateful for all that you have, and the rest will come. Just trust in God. Know that things are temporary. All of this is temporary. And that's another thing that I wanted to say, and I'm gonna touch on this in another video that I make. Probably it'll most likely be later today, but you know, now that the sun is coming out, I have to wait till it's about 5 p.m. for me to come back out and record the next video. But I'm gonna just give y'all a little snippet. I'm pretty much gonna talk about just making the most out of what you have, and yeah, no matter what that looks like, just enjoy it. Just fully, truthfully, just enjoy it with your whole heart, because everything is temporary. You're not gonna be where you are on your path forever. That's why I say strive for progress, not perfection. As long as each and every day you make it your mission to be present, to just have a good time, to let nobody, and it's really not even letting nobody stop you. It's not letting yourself stop you, because if somebody want to come at you and act like an ass, let them. That ain't gonna affect me. If you want to come at me and be nasty, that shows more about you than it does me. So I'm gonna just let you do you. And when you don't take it in, you just bounce it back at that person. It's like they throw a knife and you're made out of whatever bounces back knives, and so it just goes back to them and they end up getting hurt, and you just go on about your day unharmed, unscathed, unscratched. So continue on like that. Don't let nobody, if you be like, man, I don't like going to work because Melissa why are you letting Melissa ruffle up your feathers? Let Melissa do her own thing and you go on about your business. Do not allow Melissa to ruffle up your feathers. Do not allow Rick to ruin your day with his negativity. Just block him out. Just block him out, or set boundaries. We be so scared to speak up for our own boundaries. Speak up for yourself. Treat yourself like you would protect your child. If somebody talking to your child sideways, you're gonna be like, you're gonna put a pin in that. You're gonna put a stop to that. You're gonna shoot that bird down out of the sky, okay? You're gonna be like, absolutely not. I don't think so. You're not gonna talk to me that way. I don't care what you got going on. I understand. It's not even, I don't care. I understand that we go through things. I understand that we all suffer. I understand we've all been through pain, trials, tribulations. But you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way because I did nothing to you. And that's on that. You gotta stand on that. You gotta stand on that. You understand? But like I was saying, keep trucking on, man. Keep trucking on. Even though you cannot see the end, even though, you know what I mean? Even though you cannot see the end, even though you don't know how exactly God is gonna make it happen, you don't have to know how. God just wants you to be a witness to his greatness. He just wants you to witness it. All you got to do is have a good time and enjoy where you are with your circumstances, and he will literally do the rest. I'm not playing. I'm gonna talk about that in my next video, y'all, so y'all stay tuned. Yeah, I hope y'all really enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Until next time, bye friends.